sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he says, if your siyam does not prevent you from doing wrong and forgeries and lying, then Allah does not need your siyam. Because siyam is not simply abstaining from food and drinks, like Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jailani rahmatullahi ta'ala radiyallahu anhu mentioned in the siyam, darajat of siyam. Therefore the mu'amalat becomes, yes, you can say, oh, quote unquote Islamic, but where is the Islam? Where is the core of Islam in it? What is that feeling that you have someone who's in need next to you, or your neighbor who is sleeping at night and he is thirsty or he is hungry and you're sleeping full and you are sinful because of that? Islam teaches these things. Islam is not simply a ritual that we just practice, and a beard and a amama that we put on, and then we say, no, wait a minute, the sunnah is much more than that. قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء. And therefore you see people are busy in being creative, how to do corruption versus construction. That's why we see the concept of, well, the end justifies the mean, versus that was not the case for Nabi al-A'zam sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Therefore you see all kinds of things are going, and then we wonder why the ummah is in such a trouble. Why there is such humility? Why there's no success? How come the Muslims are at the end, and they used to be the inventors, and they used to be the ones who discover things, and they used to be the lead ones in mathematics, and the lead in physics, and the leads in physiology, and the leads in everything? Where are they now? Because there's a separation between theory and practice. Because we come to pray, and again, that's not generalization. May Allah make us among those who follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But then, is this prayer affecting us? Is this making you smile to your fellow human being when you see them with a genuine mercy? Doing active, random acts of kindness for no reason and no return except pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Simply like that. Doing good things, contributing positively. Or are we those who are the supporters of rikab al-zalimin, mundarijin fi rikab al-zalimin, the supporters of the oppressors, and the ones who walk under the banners of the oppressors, and those who commit injustice, and we commit injustice against ourselves, and against our community, and against our society, and against our nation, against the world, and against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We have to ask ourselves, because this is a point of truth. This is not simply a claim. Is our salah changing us week over week? Or the salah is simply ritual? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. وحتى even during a recitation, the mind is not even in the recitation. All these questions are questions that we have to ask ourselves to know where we stand. Because the Nabi al-A'zam sallallahu alayhi wa sallam led us to understand that if you're tomorrow equal to today, then you have been cheated out. Cheated out of your life, cheated out of the opportunities and of what you were made for. When we look at the example, going back now to continue, inshallah we'll finish with Imam Zayd. Imam Zayd ibn Ali. This great personality, where you see, we talked about he's being Sadiq, honest. He said, I did not lie since I realized what lying is. Sidq. Sidq that we ought to teach ourselves, and ought to teach our children, and ought to practice in our community and society. And if we don't, then we have to be positive contributors so we can help each other become Sadiq. And there's no wonder that Zayd ibn Ali is raised on Sidq, because his father is Zainul Abideen, and the father of Zainul Abideen is Al-Hussein, Sibtu Rasulullah, and the father of Al-Hussein and the mother is Ali ibn Fatima bint Rasulullah, and his grandfather is as-Sadiq al-Amin. Sadiq Sadiq. There's no problem with that. الذي جاء بالصدق وصدق به. Al-Quran. You see when we talk about him being the ally of the Quran, how Al-Quran emphasizes on the Sidq, and you see these qualities of Sidq in these people. Al-Ikhlas. Surah Al-Fajr al-Asfahani, he says that, narrates by someone, he says, when I used to see Zayd ibn Ali, كنت أرى أسارير النور في وجهه. I would see the nur in his face when he comes. The bravery to say the truth. He says, Wallah, look at Imam Zayd. And that's still, he's now a young man, dealing with the society that contains all kinds of things, very much, pretty much like we are today. He says, Wallahi inni la astahi min Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I feel ashamed to go and see Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and I have not commanded in his ummah in ma'roof, and I have not participated in forbidding the evil. I would be ashamed to go to my grandfather, he's saying. He would be ashamed to go to his grandfather sallallahu alayhi wa sallam without participating in the society to become muslih, not to become salih. Salih is not good enough. If you're pious for yourself, that does not help. But you have to be the one who is pious and the one who contributes positively to your society to also make it pious. When you see someone doing wrong, don't go on their back and just let your tongue run loose and accuse them of every single thing in the world. But maybe if you are sincere and fear Allah, people who do ghibah versus the people who are sincere, you would go in sincerity and ask them, brother, I think you said something wrong. This is what Allah said and the Prophet ﷺ said. Maybe you're wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I think. There is a style of the munafiqeen, slander, and the style of the mu'mineen, nasiha. Zayd was raised in those environments where he would be ashamed. You know why he would be ashamed to go and be with Rasulullah ﷺ without ordering bil ma'roof, forbidding about the munkar? Because he used to have muraqabah in his heart. His heart was alive. His heart was beating with the love of Allah and the muraqabah of Allah, and with loving Rasulullah ﷺ and feeling the sunnah that has to be practiced. And remember last week we talked about then the consequence, the narration that I brought, the consequence of abandoning al-amr bil ma'roof wa nahy an munkar, what? La yusallitanna alaykum ashrarakum. That the evil people or the worst among you will take charge of your affairs. Then ثُمَّ يَدْعُوا خِيَارَكُمْ فَلَا يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُمْ. Then the pious amongst you, the awliya amongst you will make dua, and Allah rejects their dua. And you all know the saying by Malik ibn Dinar and others, that a village is committing fasad, and Allah ordered the malaika to destroy that village. And one of the malaika says, Ya Allah, but there is only one person in that village, he's a great wali, pious wali. How about we exclude him? And the narration said, Bihi fabda, start with him. Start with him. Why? لأنه لم يتمعر في ساعة. Because he did not go and participate in actual reform and correction. Being a wali for yourself does not help except you, but that's not the point of being a human being living in a society.